Hey guys, David Sticky RX. So we're going to do a little experiment here. This is a new rough cell that we just threw together to basically start our thinking process of how we're going to tune this whole cell. What I want to do first is show the process of putting one of these together. Now I'm going to fumble for sure because I just laid this out yesterday. But basically here's the process. So we've got our reverse and auto button switches here. First thing we need to do is put in these two plungers, reverse, auto. Okay, now we have the reverse and auto housings here on the wiring harness, which by the way comes from here. Okay, so first thing I'll do is put a sleeve in, followed by a spring. Okay, then we need to put a little bit of grease in here. And the reason, lubrication, the reason is to help the fit. This is a 3D printed housing and it's a little bit brittle, so we want to make sure that we got some grease to help this go together. So now I'll take these two, snap them in, okay? Now I'll do the same for the auto. Sleeve, spring, grease. Okay, now I have to test the assembly, plug it in, check the R button, it's working, the auto, working. Okay, now what I don't have here is I need alcohol and wipes to wipe these buttons clean, and then they get caps, a cap over each. And then we take a bag and we put a couple pieces of hardware in each bag, and then the whole assembly has to be packaged. Again, not here. So we'll stop at that point. Okay, so now you guys have a brief explanation of the process and you've taken a few minutes to look at this cell. So what observations would you have? Remember the letter experiment. How would you think about improving this cell from start to finish? Who's got some ideas?
I would take this, just reverse this, because you're going there, then to there, then to there. So maybe do the grease. That's the first thing I saw.
Okay, well let's back up on that. Let's back up on that. Okay, what you didn't see is I would have buttons here staged from laser.
So you grab that.
So, no, well, think it through. If I have button stage from laser, what's the first step that's going to happen? What did I just do when I built this?
Put the insert in, the spring. Oh no,
No.
first you tested this.
Not the harness, Paul. If I got buttons that came from laser, what was the first thing I did when I started building this together?
Set them in on the table.
What was the first step that I did when I started building this?
I actually couldn't.
Todd?
You put the insert in though.
I put the insert in, right? So what would we want to have ultimately in the first step of this? We'd want to have what two parts together?
The clear cap and the laser cap.
Right. Okay. So, guys, I'm just a little bit more close to this than you are.
Mm-hmm.
We need a tray of every button. A tray for reverse buttons, a tray for auto buttons. Now you guys don't see this, there's a third, a launch control button. Okay, so we need a tray for all three of those parts, and what would we want to have next to that tray?
Yeah, the clear insert.
The clear insert, right. Todd's got it right. Okay, so we would have a tray of buttons and a clear insert. Now, what would be the next thing that you would see? Rich?
Housing, right?
That's done when the parts are received.
Next would then be the.
Right, so any suggestions on that?
Yeah, put them above where you can reach them, maybe.
Yeah, anything else?
Visual on the front, possibly a picture.
Okay, you think that that's the most efficient way to store and retrieve those
I was
harnesses?
gonna say, instead of a bin, maybe a rack where you could just like
Exactly,
slide it.
now you're
What did you
thinking.
say?
You know, like a rack, like with two prongs
Two
on it,
pro-
you just have it loaded up and just
Now you're thinking.
slide one off.
Now you're
Rather
thinking.
than dig in there and
That's
fish
exactly
with
right.
that too.
That's exactly right. Now, when you take that housing, any suggestion on what to do with that housing when you take it?
This here,
Mm-hmm.
Make a jig.
A staging
to
area.
Put it together.
There you go.
So maybe it's just a rack that maybe holds both of these just like that, and in a position
Okay,
like one
that's
higher
what-
than the other. That way
Okay.
they're standard right there. and
Okay, is
they're
that
angled towards you?
Now you haven't built one of these, so
Never.
you're
Couldn't
green.
even see some of it, but then you'd be set up to start assembling it. So I would say like a hard fixture that holds these at the right height,
Okay.
separate, so you can work around them. Like something like that. You just slide it in, and then you start feeding your stuff.
Okay, so you're definitely on the right path. Rich, you got any suggestion on what Ryan's saying there?
Well, you would need one for three because you need a jig for three.
That's
for
right.
Three,
Yep.
Three fixture. You could just use these 2 holes with some pins just to slide
Yeah,
them in.
exactly. Yep. But you think that that's the best orientation right there? Again, you guys guys don't have the privilege of building these like I have.
can I say something?
Yep.
I would do it like this on 2 pins. You make sure you got the auto and the R in the right spot. Well, you're gonna be building it like this, so some sort of pin fixture that you would locate this on there would hold that right in place, the same as this, and then if there's another one, so you can't get the R and the A mixed up.
Exactly.
And then you could start building from there. It's like you got your hands free, and this is sitting here, however way you want
Correct.
to
So that,
orientate that.
What do we call that when we make it so that you can't mix it up? Pokey yoke, right?
Pokey yoke.
Okay, so because I had the liberty of being a little bit more close to this than you guys, what we really want to do is position it this way, and then position the other one right below it,
So you're-
and then
it's
so
visual.
basically we have all 3 in line with enough room to work. So you don't want to do it sideways because you don't want to put the switches in sideways. You want it all in line as you're going to visually see it.
Yeah, right.
Would it
Okay.
be worth also having the fixture maybe right in front of this, so you plug this in right away when you put these on, and that way everything you put it on your fixture, you plug it in, it's good to go. You can see as you're even working on it.
That makes sense.
Right, so in the spirit of how we're gonna build this fixture with Gemba pipe, Rich, take what you said and explain more how you would integrate that in with Gemba pipe. Remember, with Gemba pipe, there's not gonna be a workbench.
You want it, like I said, I think right kind of in front of this, maybe a little bit below.
Below, right, so
want that higher so you can
it's
see.
positioned like this,
Yep.
and you had your fixture hovering right over it. Like Rich said, you plugged it in, and there's the fixture right there. Now as you test everything, all the lights are right there.
But step back a little bit. Of
course.
Yep. That would be good.
This stuff, it's, slightly angled on your left, so you grab it from right here or from like right here, and then you have the stuff
That's true.
right here, and you have the alcohol like
Well,
right
that's-
next to
yeah.
that stuff. So you don't have to like go to your left or to your right. You just stand still, grab, stand still, grab.
Yep.
Exactly.
So it's a question, could you have the clamshells just stacked and load them and then move it?
Yes.
Load it and move it?
So that way you don't have to get it,
So
it's
your
already in.
stockpile is where you load it. So you don't have
Correct.
to move it again.
Now you're thinking, yep. What about these part bins?
Probably want to go to the bigger bins so you're not having doubling up,
Yep,
and then they would be up here.
be up there.
Set back,
Right, and
and you
what?
pull right out of there.
And they're so like take a larger bin for conversation and position it how you think it should be.
Like this larger bin?
Yep,
I would probably have it like that on a
on
slight
an angle. Right.
So you can just reach in there and grab.
Yep. Very good.
And of course, Kanban.
Yep.
I was thinking we would want to have a visual of how to assemble it too. Like,
Right.
we would wanna have-
Standard work maybe.
Right. But actually like have pictures, kind of like when you get instructions on how to build something, sometimes there aren't even any words, there's just pictures. You might want to have words in addition to that, but I just think it would be nice at each stage to show what you're doing.
Right.
with that part.
X number step process. Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So and that could be right above if we have a whiteboard above.
And you could have it over each bin too, like, show what you're doing when you take that part out of that bin, this is what you're doing with it. You know what I mean? Instead of just having like one in the center that shows the entire process, you could have it at each stage. So, you know exactly what you're doing.
So what does anybody else observe over here? Is there anything else that you see?
A lot of the stuff isn't labeled. Like, where do these come from?
Oh,
Where
of
do these
course,
come
yeah.
from, what that kind of stuff.
Yep.
You want to make sure that these are at the point of use of how you would want to grab it. So, you know, do you want to, do you grab it like this and turn it, or do you grab it like this and place it right in your position? So that would be one thing to think about.
Yep.
How those are positioned.
Right. Yep. Okay.
And maybe you want some of the blue swabs here as well. I'm not sure how often you replace this, if you even need to replace it at all. I know those little fabrics do fall off.
For the
fuzzies.
Okay. Yep. Okay. So the reason why I don't want to go directly to Gemba pipe with this is I know it's going to go through evolution. So I want to use this bench because it's quick and easy to build up a prototype of this cell, and then as it's being used, we'll see more and more things that can happen to make it better and better. And then at that point, we'll go to our Gemba pipe layout, which that doesn't mean it's ever going to be static. We'll always improve upon it. But this is probably going to be the very first cell that we build using Gemba pipe. It's actually a little bit pathetic that 2 years of this product being out, that this is just getting set up now.